Hey everybody, it's Ken Compton with the Savvy Inspector, and today we're talking about the workshop. And not just any workshop, we're talking about a workshop that's near and dear to many home inspectors' heart, and that is recruiting, hiring, and training home inspectors. And with me today is my good friend and coach, William Troutman. William, welcome to the call.
Great, Ken. Good to be here. Good to be here. Excited about this topic.
I'm going to tell you, have we spent a few months on this?
We sure have. Successfully.
Exactly. William, why don't you share what we've done and then why we think this is an important topic?
Great. We had we had some members, coaching groups that we put together, folks that wanted to go from one-man shop to multi-inspector firms. And we did this over a 6-month stint, taking them from ground zero to actually bringing on that first employee quite successfully. Everything from, again, from the ground up, having your administrative things in place, everything from the employee handbook straight on through to, the proper hiring process, tax information, all that good stuff. So it was really exciting. Really got a kick out of watching these folks take these steps, move closer and closer to the mark, and finally being able to call it a success to making that first hire. So if you're interested in doing this, expanding, taking that next step, becoming a multi-inspector firm, this is a great workshop to attend.
And William, this workshop isn't for everybody. Unlike the workshops that we've talked about already, those workshops are pretty much for everyone. But this workshop isn't. If you're a one-man shop and you're professionally managed, professionally run, and you're busy, and you have no desire to move to a multi-inspector firm, this workshop isn't for you. This workshop is really for the folks that are one-man shops who really want to move to the next level, but they don't really have all the skill sets they need to make that happen. They don't have all their foundational issues resolved and that kind of thing. This workshop is also for multi-inspector firms who want to really get better at recruiting, hiring, and training. And we'll get into all of the things associated with that, automating your training process, the whole thing. So it's not for one-man shops that are happy being a one-man shop, but if you want to be a multi-inspector firm, or you are a multi-inspector firm and you really want to sharpen your saw, then this workshop's for you.
I agree, Ken. You touched on a good point there, that if you are a multi-inspector firm, this is a class for you, because just by being a coach and helping these folks walk through this process really sharpened our saw here for our own business, tightened the reins in. We're able to address a lot of issues that were out there, kind of flying around, get a handle on things. Just really, it did me as much good to bring these folks through this course as it did the folks that I was coaching myself.
And guys, that's saying a lot. William has 8 inspectors. Okay, so if he learned from it and he sharpened his saw, the fact of the matter is, no matter how big or small you are, we can help you too. And again, remember, we're only tackling this one topic in 3 days. Okay, so it's not like we're going to, tackle every problem your business might encounter. This is it. But we're going to get into some other details as well about it. For instance, we're going to provide you an employee manual that you can model. And William, how valuable is an employee manual?
Oh, it's just, it's the end-all, be-all for your employees. That, if you can give them something in writing that says these are the 10 commandments to follow, what do you do vacation-wise? What do you do if you're going to have paid time off or not paid time off? What do you do with equipment? How do we handle a vehicle? I mean, every aspect of the business. It could be, heck, we even included what pictures were required to be taken within our handbook. So it's just a great tool for you as a business owner to say, here are the guidelines that need to be followed, and you step outside these lines, and then there are consequences for that. So again, just really helps tighten and bring that ring around, or fence around your herd, if you will, as far as your employees go, and being able to keep everybody consistent and on the same path.
And when you come to the workshop, we're going to provide you a sample. You take it home and tweak it, or you tweak it here, and next thing you know, you've got your employee manual perfect for your company. If you were to write this thing, you'd invest 40, 50, 60 hours in doing it. We're just going to give it to you in a Word format, and then you can go back and tweak it and make it your own, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's the kind of workshops we run here. But William, let's talk about this. Why in the heck would I want inspectors? Why would I want more inspectors? And I think, for me, I started Southern Home unusually. I know most people start as one-man shop. I did not. I started as a multi-inspector firm from day one. I had 8 inspectors. Okay, and so we went from there, and we had an employee manual from the beginning. But I think one of the reasons people want to go multi-inspector firm is you can leverage the work of others to increase your revenue, and you can also, when you have a well-run shop with others working for you, you can get somewhat of your life back. So William, share with us your personal experience from being a one-man shop and what it's meant to you now being a big multi-inspector firm.
Yeah, I think, myself, like most folks out there, did not come into this with the Ken Compton strategy there, let's be a multi-inspector firm and not even be a home inspector. How insane is that? But myself, I come into it actually as a part-time position, I thought, because I was actually actively flipping homes for a living, and I would get all my money tied up, in homes, and couldn't buy another one until one would sell, and it's like you're sitting there at the roulette table. And so I would have downtime because I couldn't, purchase another home. So I would be down for a month or 6 weeks waiting for a home to sell, and just totally not my style to do that. And of course, you're living on a prayer and a wing, trying to hope that everything turns out. So I looked at the home inspection as a way to fill those voids between flipping homes. Hey, I'll inspect. It quickly, once I got involved in the Savvy, quickly became more than I could handle. I got to where I was doing personally 3, sometimes 4 a day, and had no life whatsoever. And let the whole flipping homes thing go, because this was a much better way to make a living, of course. But then reality set in. You get sick or have an accident, or you just like to take a vacation. But when you do that, revenue stops, and it takes away from your lifestyle to have to break away from that. So that's when we decided, hey, we need to make that higher and try to get our life back and still be able to have an income coming in.
And William, you've made that happen successfully.
We, thrilled to say that with the help of the Savvy Inspector, we definitely have and continue to grow and prosper with that.
And now, William, your position within the company's changed. You haven't done home inspections in a long time, and you're focused exclusively on making rain for the company.
That's correct. A position I never, at the onset, never dreamed that I would be here today having this conversation with you. To me, it was just another means way to make an income, to try to make a living. But once I started, once we got to that point and made that first hire, we've just continued to grow and pick up more business and hire more inspectors. And so now my position has changed that that I'm the general manager, if you will, and I'm the guy that makes it rain. I do not inspect homes. On the rare occasion maybe that I'm training, but other than that, I'm here making connections, making new business happen.
That's right. And William, I know now that you guys don't work on the weekends. You actually have a boat. Your family goes up there. You take vacation. You got a new grandbaby. Life is way better than you're not out there in the field doing 100 inspections.
Yeah, I just, coming from where we were to where I am today, I just can't tell you how blessed we have been. And it's, a lot of factors in that, but 90% of it is these workshops, getting these strategies, taking it to heart, bringing them back, implementing, tweaking if need be, whatever it takes, just keeping your eye on that ball and implementing these strategies as they've been taught. And, here we are. It works. I'm living proof of it.
Right. And we have a lot of other clients over the years who have done it as well. If you're interested in that, you should become a Savvy Inspector member, and we can help you work your way directly out of inspections and move into, like William and lots of other clients, where they just do, they just make the business come in the door and the inspectors do the inspecting. So it's a lot nicer to be out there making a presentation than in a crawl space.
You bet. You bet. And, if we would have had these workshops in place back then, you had the yearly end of the year November workshop that you would do, and you were just so inundated with all that information that Sherry and I said this in one of the earlier videos, that we got to where we would take time off after the workshop, where it was just her and I alone, so that we could get our act together and get a plan together to get these things implemented. Because when you come back from that workshop in November, there was just so much on your plate. You get back to your office or your house, and life starts happening, and these things get put on the back burner, and you just never seem to quite get them into place. So the beauty of these workshops, who knows where I would be now if we'd had these workshops in place back then, because when you walk away from this workshop, you've got this strategy implemented and set for yourself, unlike the previous workshops.
Right. This one is, I'm just looking here at my calendar, September 25th through the 27th, 2014. It's going to be 3 days. It's going to be on nothing but hiring, training, and recruiting home inspectors into your firm so that you can get your life back and that you can leverage their efforts for additional revenue. You know, William, in talking with home inspectors over the last few years, one of the things I've learned is a lot of them would love to be multi-inspector firms, but they're afraid of the liability that could be brought on by inspectors they hire and train. What do you think about that statement? Agree?
I totally agree with that. That's the number one, thing that keeps you from stepping off the ledge is the big what if and open yourself up to, how could I ever let somebody else go out there and do a home inspection without me being on site and me be responsible for it? But it's very, very doable. Training these people is part of the process, of course. Making sure that you get mini me's out there doing what you would do and everybody stays consistent. And it can be done, and we do it every day.
Now, were you pretty nervous when you had your first home inspector go out there without you?
You bet. The first inspector was the longest one to turn loose, just because of my own inhibitions about letting someone else carry my name, if you will.
Right. I see that all the time in the coaching group that we just made multi-inspector firms from one-man shops. They were crazy and saying we just had to whack them with a boat paddle and let them, the inspectors get on out there without them.
You bet.
I was like,
now by what we've learned through the Savvy and bringing these folks on, we have a training program with benchmarks in place that you can know within a short period of time if this person is going to cut it or not. And then an X amount of inspections or what have you, they'll be ready to be turned loose as quickly as possible, so you don't spend a lifetime training somebody, get them out there and start making some money off of them.
Right, because we had clients that said, "Oh, this will take 6 months to train." We're like, "Really? 6 months? I don't think anybody's going to work for 6 months, basically for nothing."
Right.
So you have to shorten it. Let's talk about some of the things we're going to talk about. One of the things we're going to talk about is, where do you look for home inspectors?
Right. And that's a big question that always comes up. Where am I going to find somebody that's got the same mindset as I do, that will be a good quality candidate? And we'll share with you at the workshop where to put your information.
That's right. I'm going to share with you a golden nugget right here, and it's a truism. When you start this process, know this: you're going to have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find a prince.
That's right.
I mean, nobody grows up and says, "I'm going to be a home inspector." They all come to this from a second career or third career. So you can't do it. One of the things we're going to talk about is we're going to talk to you about how to identify possible candidates from a big pool. Try to separate suspects from prospects. And a hiring mistake is hugely expensive. Would you agree with that, William?
Totally agree. And with this process, this strategy, you can quickly eliminate those people that are going to be, time bandits, if you will, wasting your time. So by asking the right questions, you can eliminate a lot of that riffraff, if you will, right up front.
Right. One of the other things I know that home inspectors are very fearful of, and that is, I'm going to train my competition. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Sure. That was one of my biggest fears. Matter of fact, I learned that the hard way. I think it was the second hire that I made. I didn't have the things in place to prevent that, and sure enough, I spent a lot of time, money, and effort in this fella, and sure enough, he broke away. Had some connections with some of the agents that I was working with, and did. I'd say that he hurt me, but he did get some of my business there for a short period of time. He was not a savvy inspector, so he didn't last long. But through that, I got my fingers burned, and I know now, I know better, that there are strategies to eliminate that from happening.
That's right. We're going to teach you some great strategies where you can minimize that. You're never going to guarantee 100% that somebody isn't going to go out on their own. But if you use the strategies we teach you here at this workshop in September, then what happens, you'll minimize that totally. I think that I had 13 inspectors going full-time, 5 schedulers full-time, and we probably had one guy that went out on his own. He was a great guy. We loved him. We still love him and his wife. When his schedule is full, he refers Southern Home Business Today. And when he's on vacation, he sends his clients over. It was friendly. He worked a month's notice. And I don't ever begrudge people going out on their own that way. This is America. I'm entrepreneurial. So why would I hold back other people who want to be entrepreneurial or own their own business? But only one time did I do it. By using these techniques, we prevented that a whole lot. We hired the right person, and it just didn't happen. So, but I know that is a huge fear for home inspectors, and rightfully so.
And like you said, you have to kiss a lot of frogs, but the fact is the right person is out there. The right people are out there. You've just got to be able to weed through and find them.
That's right. One of the big things we had to deal with, and we still deal with it all the time with our coaching clients who weren't moved from one-man shops to multi, they weren't in that group, is should I hire somebody who's already in the biz, or should I take a newbie and train them? And we're going to spend a lot of time on that.
I agree. We'll give away too much right here, but that is a very important topic that weighs on a lot of inspectors' minds when they're going through the hiring process.
And William, have you hired newbies, and have you hired existing inspectors, or have you hired all newbies?
I personally have hired all newbies.
Okay, I've done both, and each one of them come with a different set of complexity. When you have states like Texas or Massachusetts or other states where there's a lot of time and effort required to get a home inspector into the market to be able to do inspections, I mean, I see why those home inspection business owners want to hire people who are licensed. And in this workshop, we're going to get into the process of when you should hire newbie versus existing employee in the business. We're going to get into all that at the workshop. But that is one of the things that we'll spend a lot of time on, because we certainly spend a lot of time on it in the coaching group.
Yeah, and you touched on a very, very important part of it right there. When, if you're hiring a licensed versus a newbie, when you start that process is very important.
One of the other things that we spend a lot of time on, and we're going to spend some time on it in the workshop here in September, and that is should they be a W-2 employee or should they be a 1099 subcontractor?
Right. And as you know, that's a lot of controversy about that across the nation here with inspection firms. You and I know the correct answer to that, and of course we'll be sharing that at the workshop and why.
And we'll be sharing the worksheets that show you why you do it and what's best. I just think that if you're starting off a home inspection business, if you're a multi-inspector firm already and you're doing one way or the other and you have to make a change, that's harder. But if you start off brand new, you should start off the right way. By coming to the workshop, we'll share with you the right way, and then we'll also share with you how to make that happen super easy. I was just looking over here on my bullet list. One of the other things that really, really scares home inspectors is, how am I going to train these guys and gals?
Right, and I'm excited to be able to share that portion of the workshop, because we've got a great little training program, simple yet very effective, that we'll be sharing as well. So training is a big part of it. Again, needs to be part of that handbook that we spoke of. There need to be milestones put in place there as well, so that that they hit the mark or missed it. And again, trying to have everybody, especially when you're 8 inspectors out there, everybody's saying the same thing about the same concern consistently across the board is important, and that's part of the training as well. I mean, the training aspect goes from everything from cell phone usage to vehicle usage to inputting data in the report.
And I mean, being consistent in the report. I mean, that's what happens is top producers are not going to reach into a grab bag and pull out somebody from a multi-inspector firm if they're not confident that they're doing the same inspection the same way.
That's true. That's very true.
One of the other things the savvy inspector's been teaching, because I'm huge on automation and systems. If you don't have systems, you don't have a business. And you find yourself being reactive instead of proactive. And one of the things we're going to do right here in the workshop in Jasper, right behind me, is we're going to show you how to get your life back by automating the training process.
Yeah, this is really, really cool. I mean, we just got this in place at the last mastermind group meeting that we had. We've got, what is there, 8, 9 of us in that group, and we all had this implemented before we left. So before you leave the workshop, you'll have your hands around this as well. Sit back and let it do its job.
One thing is when you come, we have separate internet service in the training center than we do from our corporate office here in Jasper. And one of the things you're going to need to do is bring your computer, headset. When you get signed up for the workshop, whichever one you get signed up for, or sign up for all of them if you want, we will send you the requirements in advance. You're going to have to do some homework. what tools and equipment you need to bring so that you can be most successful in these great 3-day workshops. So we want you to bring your computer because you are going to be rolling up your sleeves and getting to work and doing these things. Now, William, one other thing that we spent an inordinate amount of time on bringing these one-man shops to multi-inspector firms, and that was tools and equipment.
Yeah, everybody seemed to struggle with that, but I think we got it pretty simplified now. Everybody understands. For me, myself, I was approached by my lead inspector asking to set up a program to help with that. So we'll be sharing that with you as well. We've had great success with it. Several other inspectors across the board here have implemented this equipment and tools strategy that works really well. So excited to share that with you. And that can even tie into the compensation as well.
Absolutely. And we're going to really get into also little things that are very important, like who pays for pre-licensing education? Who pays for continuing education? And what if I want to hire an inspector? He doesn't have any money. He could be a good inspector. How am I going to get him trained? Who's going to pay for that? And how can I get reimbursed? The whole thing. And you know what, William? We're going to share a bonus strategy, one that I always love, and that's how to increase your profitability once you bring on inspectors. You know, I had a client say, gosh, if I bring on an inspector, I'll make less money. I'm like, really? Seriously? How could that happen? You know, if you're doing it the Savvy Inspector way, there's no way that you're going to lose money initially or on a go-forward basis. And we're going to share with you 2 things that we teach all of our multi-inspector firms to increase their profitability. And I will tell you that in our mastermind group, we work on financial performance to plan, and we have members in there whose pre-tax profits run between 40 and 53%.
Yeah, and we ourselves have, that's just comical that comment that you just made, because I just shared with you this morning, that at this point, at this time of year right now, to date, we are 5 inspections up from last year. We had a terrible January, February because of the storms and what have you, but our profits are up almost 16 grand. So baloney about hiring and costing you money. If you're hiring somebody and you're losing money with it, there are some issues that need to be addressed there.
And we will address them with you, but we'll show you how to make more money, because you know what happens is you can't take gross revenue to the grocery store.
That's right.
You got to take. We want to focus on pre-tax profits. Years ago, we always said our job is to help you increase your sales and profits, and our theory hasn't changed. I know a lot of home inspectors that churn cash but don't necessarily make a lot of pre-tax profits, and they can't understand why, and they become a member, and we fix that for them. So in this workshop, we're going to get into that because it's part of hiring, training, recruiting, and what it does for your business. I mean, if you weren't going to increase your profits by hiring employees, you wouldn't deal with the hassle.
Exactly.
Okay, William, I'm going to tell you, we only got 45 seats for this thing. It's going to be September 25th through the 27th, 2014, 45 seats. You come in the day before, and you leave the day after the workshop. We're going to have a great time. It'll be fun. You'll meet a ton of interesting people from across the country. Some of them will be Savvy members, some won't. But you're all going to be focused on hiring or recruiting, hiring, and training. And again, it's not for one-man shops that want to remain a one-man shop, but if you're a multi-inspector firm that wants to sharpen the saw and become better at these things, it's for you. And it's certainly for one-man shops who want to be multi-inspector firms. How about anything else, William, you want to share about it before we get going?
I think we've pretty well covered it. The one thing maybe we didn't mention was what we refer to as golden handcuffs. Once you get these employees on board, and how do you make sure they stay with you, and things that you can do to help ensure that. So we'll be sharing those things as well. Really, really excited about this class, and looking forward to meeting everyone there and watching you grow your firm through these strategies.
Absolutely. I had forgotten about the golden handcuffs. That's a good one. Who doesn't want to put the golden handcuffs on their employees? I want to put the golden handcuffs only on my good ones.
Yeah, exactly right.
Handcuffs on my bad ones.
That's right. Give them a key.
All right, William, I look forward to seeing you there at the workshop, and we'll talk soon.